cliche as it sounds, you can always count on life to bring you down a path you didn't expect. Always. Let's think back to last year. If you were anything like my extended family, you'd probably ask me about 7 times a day what I was doing for college. I wasn't entirely sure. I knew I didn't want to leave my baby sister, parents, and my dear cousin Rachel and go to college too far away. When Northeastern offered me the opportunity to study abroad my first semester, I just laughed it off and threw the letter in the garbage. Boston was already further than I wanted to school. I asked myself, why would I want to leave Long Island where I've been happy and comfortable my whole life and go straight to a foreign country for a full semester? Realizing the only reason I had not to accept the NUN offer was that it would bring me out of my comfort zone, I told myself it was something I needed to do, because if I stayed here, I wouldn't face my fears. I needed to expand my horizons and jump into life. Where better to do that than 10,000 miles away?
These questions need answers. Are there choices around me, or am I stuck on a one-way road?
I was set on Australia the second I saw it listed as an NUN site. It was the furthest, but still familiar due to the language. I wanted to be out of my comfort zone, but definitely not out of my language zone. I've always wanted to travel here, but aside from sharks, koalas, and Outback Steakhouse, I didn't know much about the place. That being said, most of my family still can't pin it on a map, and my 5-year-old sister still thinks it's where the Lion King took place. Yeah, she's pretty cute.
I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard.
I packed my bags and said goodbye to my family and friends. After 3 days of travel and getting my carry-on baggage stolen, I was finally in Melbourne. It was a feeling like no other. It's still surreal to me that I'm in Australia. Have you seen how far New York and Australia are on the globe? It's far. Really, really far.
You're not coming down. It slowly turns. You let me burn.
Looking back, while everything was new in Australia, there's still a few things I'm not accustomed to. Aussie accents still sound thick. I've eaten more McDonald's than I would like to admit, and it's still a process for me to cross the street. I always forget that oncoming traffic comes from the right side here. Yeah. It's pretty miraculous that my friends and I have been wreaking havoc around Melbourne without getting personal with an automobile.
I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever
My classes at Swinburne University were challenging, yet surprisingly informal. Professors are often called by their first names here, and they're very candid. However, through the NUN program, I've worked with a variety of service organizations as well. Our first event was to help run a walk, no pun intended, near Federation Square in support of Parkinson's disease. I was a course marshal for Walk in the Park, and I actually had the time of my life. Friends and I directed walkers, and of course cheered on those affected by Parkinson's. I was especially touched seeing this 79-year-old man with Parkinson's powering through the course, accepting help from no one, and looking happy as ever. There's something really remarkable about seeing people overcome when something such as disease can hold them back.
what you wanna do, baby, I don't care. We can go to the show, we can stay right here, and I can take you for a ride on my big green tractor.
Walk in the Park was great, but my favorite service-oriented project was actually a much smaller scale. My class volunteered for the Gawler Foundation, which is an organization that applies holistic nutrition and meditation to those with chronic and terminal illnesses. After being walked through a Qigong routine, we did gardening work. I actually had a great time. This is kind of shocking. If you know anything about me, it's apparent that I'm a hygiene freak. Gardening isn't exactly the epitome of cleanliness. Yeah. So I've obviously come a long way. Gawler taught me that many hands truly make light work, and I was even able to get down and dirty with some kangaroos.
When the fireflies are dancing and the moon comes out, we can turn on the lights and head back to the house, or we can take another ride on my big green tractor. We can go.
Are you having the time of your life was a common question during my time here. Yes. These have been the best months of my life. I've seen parts of the world myself that I could have never even thought of. I've eaten Nando's, meat pies, became very close with friends here, gotten lost within arcades in Melbourne, ate more Nando's, and even traveled to New Zealand. However, I've also had the time of my life being outside my comfort zone, and finally becoming pretty independent. I can cook and sort of do laundry now. Who knew? I'll never forget my weekend in Sydney, my first time surfing in Torquay, or even buying my first pair of man-arms. They are comfortable, don't judge me. Joining the NUN program was one of the best choices I've made in my entire life. If I can find independence and feel at home 10,000 miles away from home, I can do it anywhere. Australia for me was proof that sometimes you just have to jump into life and let it catch you.